What is up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Can you hear Mrs. Rachel from the TV? Let me know if you can hear a crazy woman's voice from the TV in the background, and I'll turn it down. But I don't think you could hear it from the test film, her voice on the TV. But if it is loud, too loud, and you can hear her in the background, let me know in the comments, and I will turn it down. I could not help myself. I started writing the article, christening this exciting new era of LSU football. Then I almost jumped out of my skin. Like, let's just do a live stream. Like, I've got to just express this emotion in perhaps a different way than we usually do with our, we're usually writing about 99% of what we're putting out. We have only just started really expanding in the talking thing. We've always done this, but usually it was like guesting on other people's shows, things like that. But really starting to do live streams and stuff like that here in the last few seasons. I like to think we've gotten better at it, but I still think we're a better writer than we are a speaker. But we'll definitely keep trying to do this. Today we are here with our son Sage, but he's always a good little guy. He's going to be on his best behavior. You probably will see him, maybe not really hear from him too much. I doubt. He's not really too crazy like that little guy. I am just so excited to do this video because it was a historic day for LSU football, for college football, and it's been really a historic few weeks of just news, of just crazy news. And we are thrilled to have been a part of breaking some of those stories with not only a transfer portal, but coaching hires, coaching fires. And we played our little part, but then Chris Lowe breaks a huge story a monumental, one of those where were you when it happened type of things. Basically breaking the story that you want to break your entire career. You have your career for, is to break a story like that. And Chris Lowe, the bastard, got it. And what a story to break. Nick Saban retires. Can you believe it? Nick Saban retires. Chris Lowe broke the story. I knew the second he posted it, like, you're not gonna post that type of a story. You're not going to dip your toes in those waters unless it's 100% accurate, because the blowback would be embarrassing. Nick Saban would mock you in a press conference. It would get out of hand. It would get if you're wrong on that type of thing, you're in for a whooping. Chris Lowe, however he got this story, I haven't really looked into it too much. I know Nick Saban just barely did an exclusive interview, post-retirement interview with Reese Davis, explaining why he did it. And I'm sure it's to be with the family. I'm sure I've done everything. I've climbed the mountaintop. I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet. So if I'm wrong on that, there's some type of secret reason, share with me in the comments, because I haven't looked into that just yet. It's been snowing here, had a doctor's appointment early this morning. So some hairy drives, and been writing something else, another project for the site as well. But Nick Saban retires. You all know he started off his reign winning his national championship, first national championship at LSU. And then winning 6 at Alabama, including 1 directly at our expense in 2011/2012. January 9th, I believe it was, 2012. Jimmy Page's birthday. Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin, the guitarist of Led Zeppelin's birthday. LSU lost, were shut out, were humiliated in the Superdome at the hands of Saban. And really, if you think about it, 2011-2012 season, that Alabama team barely, after they lost the game of the century to LSU, who were undefeated, were the talk of college football, had won all of the postseason awards. Going into that game, it was all about LSU. And A.J. McCarron, Nick Saban came in there and threw the ball all over our guys. It was Chinese death torture type of offense, very conservative but very effective, killing us on third downs. And no matter how many stops that defense got in that game, it did not matter because Alabama's defense were even more suffocating. So it was basically that entire game. I would say probably 3/4 of that game consisted of LSU's defense on the field versus Alabama's offense. It was unbelievable that LSU only gave up, 27 points, 27-0. It was, I think in that moment, even more apparent, like this guy left for Alabama, and here, it really has now cost us. We thought, okay, you got a title of your own. You had to knock out Colt McCoy in the first quarter to do it, Nick. We'll show you. And then he did that, and it was like, what's going on here? What's going on here? And then that next season after that, 2012-13, Notre Dame, Brian Kelly, Manti Te'o, they were the talk of college football, winning these close games, beating some highly ranked teams, including USC in one of those crazy games. And they get to the title game. There's the story of Manti Te'o and his girlfriend and all that stuff, and they get wiped out by Saban and company, who are just like the Grim Reaper, man. Like, they're just like coming in there dry, just absolutely gonna rip your face off. And they deleted that Notre Dame team off the field in a way that was like, what is Nick Saban doing? What has he done? That team became a juggernaut. That program became a juggernaut at LSU's expense in so many games where LSU would do everything right in that game. But the flags would not be our way. The breaks would not be our way. There was just this mysticism around this Alabama team where it was about winning, pure winning, just a winning machine. They were a defensive juggernaut at first with complementary offense. And then he became a guy that had Heisman-winning quarterbacks and a Heisman-winning receiver, multiple Biletnikoff receivers. He became a guy who understood that offense delivers championships. At the same time, you saw the cracks appear in the last part of Saban's career as, the landscape changed, and he wasn't able to retain a certain continuity season to season as best as he could. He could survive it early on in that when they developed that dynasty because Kirby was still there, and he had certain pieces that were still there. He had a guy like Pete Golding who was there for a while, and it was at least continuity, and they had a championship around that guy as defensive coordinator. That would be Nick Saban's last, the 2020 national championship. He lost 3 national championship games at Alabama, 2 to Clemson, and another to Georgia, to his protege, Kirby Smart. And 2 of those were absolute beatdowns. He won another championship in overtime. I believe another surviving a last play from Clemson, and then another one where they lost with a brilliant last play from Hunter Renfrow. That beautiful catch right there on the red zone in the goal line. Nick Saban retires. I mean, how many title games is that then? 7 wins, 3 title games. So he's been to 10 national championship games. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, I understand. I understand why every LSU fan, supporter in the world. Thank you so much, Nikki, for that comment, by the way. I'm just getting so into this. You are the best, Nikki. I hope for a big season for Jeremiah. And I think that's why, every LSU fan in the world was jumping up and down when they heard this news. The wicked witch is gone, type of scenario. I get it. The evil has left the building. I understand. He is a boon of so many of my nightmares. I understand it. But there's also a part of me that's like, damn, we were watching pure greatness. And when you beat him, it was so sweet. Like 2022. November 5th, 2022, my birthday. Brian Kelly, in his first season, topples Nick Saban in Tiger Stadium in front of a raucous crowd. An unbelievable game that goes from a defensive chess match for about 2.5 quarters into a high-flying offensive just Superdome act and a high-wire act. And it was just incredible viewing that game, going into overtime, the 2-point conversion call, the craziness of it all. Those type of moments when you beat Nick Saban like that, when Joe Burrow goes into Tuscaloosa and takes the Heisman from Tagovailoa, takes a national championship from Saban right out of their hands, takes history right out of their hands, right in front of the entire world in what was really the real game of the century, the 2019 LSU Alabama game. That is when you know you have conquered and you have achieved greatness, because you have beaten the best. You've beaten the best. And Nick Saban, no matter what you want to say, no matter how much you want to say, oh, Nick Saban, Nick Satan, like I get it, but it's kind of old at this point. Don't you have some basic understanding of where LSU was as a program when they signed Nick Saban in the year 2000, and now what we have become in this century? It's not just a coincidence. The blueprint was always there, but no one had done it. No one had really achieved it. Louisiana talent equals national championships. Find the best Louisiana players, build around a fence, and then cherry pick from Georgia, cherry pick from Texas specifically, especially Texas, cherry pick from Florida, and then you build that fence around Louisiana no matter what, first and foremost, and that's the recipe for national championships at LSU. Now in the transfer portal, it's seemed like you get a transfer portal quarterback and they're going to win a Heisman at LSU. Loading AJ Swan. I don't know about that, but we'll see. We'll see, AJ. Prove me wrong, prove me right. Either way, and be the third transfer portal quarterback in a row to win the Heisman at LSU. It's just incredible, because Nick Saban really achieved it all at the college football level, adapted to it all, and it was. I gotta be real here. He was the first LSU coach I really remember. I know I watched Kevin Falk games, so I know Jerry DiNardo was that coach. But how many times do you think the camera is showing Jerry DiNardo on the sidelines? I remember his nose. I remember maybe his eyebrows at that age. I remember Nick Saban specifically. Every flinch, every angry moment, and every moment where he's going nuts. And you've seen a lot of these replays again and again and again over the years. But his LSU tenure has been completely overshadowed by what he's done at Alabama, which is obvious. 6 national championships, 9 title game appearances at Alabama over a 16-year span. LSU, 1 of 1, but in a very short time span there before he goes to the NFL and the Dolphins for a short time. Very, very short time. But what he did at LSU set us up. And I'm sure you've heard it eulogized by everyone from Moscana to Collada to T-Bob Hebert, but it's the truth. I mean, he was the gatekeeper. He built the brand in a way that it was already here. It had always been here. Just like Alabama with Bear Bryant. But what he did evolved this thing, took it to the next level, optimized, streamlined everything, top to bottom within the program, and made it elite. I mean, you look at the guys who are a part of that LSU staff, whether they're in the athletic department or on the team itself, who are still around. Obviously, no one really on the team itself, but think of the people around that team or on that staff who are still around in the game of football, college football itself, or athletic department people who are still at LSU. A guy like the sports info guy, Michael Bonnet. Awesome dude. And guess what? He's 10 billion times better at his job than he is as a great dude. Like, he is elite at his job. And LSU have been lucky that we've had him for 23 years, and that's obviously because he loves LSU and he's a Louisiana native. So obviously he's stick around. But he's been there for every single coach since Saban, and that says something. But it's obvious that that rubbed off on someone like Michael Bonnet. It's obvious that rubbed off on a lot of different guys who are part of that tree, who have gone on to so much success. I mean, the Saban tree is crazy. The Belichick tree is crazy. We might see Belichick retire here. I mean, this is a crazy time with a lot of different changes in college football as well as the National Football League, with a lot of perennial annual guys that you just knew, just like the Sun Rose, they were going to be competing for a championship that year or a Super Bowl. That's what was going to happen. You were going to watch this guy compete for a championship, watch this guy coach for a championship every single season. And now Nick Saban is retired. A guy like Pete Carroll is retired. Crazy time. And what Nick Saban did for LSU is incredible. And I wonder what would have happened had he stayed at LSU. Well, let's be realistic here. Let's don't just say, oh, well, check mark, championship. If Saban stayed at LSU, what do you really, really think what would have happened if he had stayed at LSU? Like, sure, championships, of course, but would things have gone sour? Would things have turned because of the environment around him? Would there become parasites? Just come up with as many wild theories as you want, because we can get weird with this now that he's retired. What would have happened had Saban stayed at LSU? And, that's something his wife even said was a mistake, was leaving LSU. So it was like, what? Crazy. Alternate universe type stuff. But here's the thing that really excites me. Okay, Nick Saban left LSU. Well, LSU has someone who could be the heir to that throne, or at least attempt to be, with getting multiple championships here at LSU. Because this new era that Brian Kelly has started here at LSU in the last 2 years, plus the movements over the last month, when you're talking about the recruiting that has gone on, the hiring that has gone on, it has culminated in LSU's unstoppable 3 5-stars signed in under a week. I believe it was 5 days signed. 3 5-stars in 5 days. Dominic McKinley, Harlem Berry, and the number 1 quarterback in the nation, Bryce freaking Underwood. And then you top it off by getting rid of Matt House. Huge news. You get, a lot of people thought, are we going to be stuck with Matt House? What are we going to do? You bring in Blake Baker, a lot of people's dream hire. A lot of people are just like, what? Blake Baker, hell yeah. Okay, well, now, where are we going to go now, bro? Where are we going to go now? And now, you supposedly, according to Football Scoop, you were rejected by Bo Davis. He rejected you. And that was a story we looked into. And I was like, I can't find any evidence that Bo Davis has rejected the job. I can't find any evidence that he's accepted the job. but I can't find any evidence that LSU is out of this. And everyone I'm talking to is saying that LSU are still in this. And so I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what will happen. And then boom, Wilson Alexander breaks the story. He's given us credit for numerous stories we've broken before. We have to give him the credit because this is an awesome story and it's the right thing to do. And Wilson, great reporting here. He broke this story where Bo Davis is going to get a 3-year deal. Okay, $1.25 million, $0.25 more million than he's making at Texas, $250K more than he's making at Texas. Then it increases to $1.35 million, and then finally tops out at $1.45 million in the last part of that deal, in the last year of that 3-year deal. So Bo Davis signing a 3-year deal to be the D-line coach at LSU. What an absolute win for the Tigers. I can't think of – I mean, when you look at what LSU's problem was the night before Bo Davis is signed to LSU, what was it? Defensive line. Where the hell is the defensive line going? What in the hell in the handbasket is going on the defensive line? Mason Smith, Mekhi Wingo, NFL draft, maybe a year before Mason, a year before he should have for sure. Mekhi, you can debate that. I think he was ready, but you can also say that maybe he should have come back for another year too, because he had another year, maybe even I think 2 years on his thing. If he was, I think he had 2 years left on his of eligibility. Mason Smith did as well. Mason Smith had 2 years as well. I'm not saying they should have played 2 years, but it's crazy that they both go, boom, to the NFL draft early. And LSU, you thought, they missed on Dominic McKinley. You thought, they missed on Gabe Relaford. They flipped both of them from A&M, boom, 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 before we had Bo Davis. So they must have known Scott Woodward was going to be going toe-to-toe with every Texas bureaucrat, every Texas booster, and putting that, boot up their ass to do whatever it took to sign Bo freaking Davis. And he made it happen. Scott Woodward went into the state of Texas and said, "Give me your best defensive line coach." I mean, I am so excited about where LSU are headed because Nick Saban is gone now. Nick Saban was a man who he was a chameleon. He was a reptile. The man never slept. He just shed his skin and just was like, I am anew. And would just be dressed by Mrs. Terry while he's staring through the glass, and just would his skin would just reanimate or something, and he would just become something new and just be and he'd regenerate or whatever he's doing, but he wouldn't be sleeping because he's not human. He's something cold-blooded. And, he'd kind of regurgitate the day, go through his process, as he called it, process. I mean, it's just Saban and that vampire, that crazy college football nutso who is just, no matter what it is, he's going to adopt to it. No matter what it is, he's going to be a machine. No matter what it is, he's going to generate wins, and he's going to be in conference championship games, college football playoffs, every single damn year. Now Alabama have to go right back to the drawing board. Alabama have to go right back to 2007. They got to go right back to, who was it? Shula? Yeah, it was Shula. They have to go right back to the post-Shula days. I mean, it's hilarious after these Alabama fans have become so jaded, so embarrassing, so cookie cutter over the last 5-6 years, where you've seen them turn from hungry, kind of rabid, kind of nutcase fans to just becoming this hillbilly country rap album that's just taking place before your eyes in a a frat boy influenced crowd. Even the adults would look like it. I mean, it was becoming something that no wonder Nick Saban had to retire. He's like, I don't know what this is, but I'm getting embarrassed by this. And now Alabama, Dan Lanning says, no, I'm staying at Oregon, which we don't know if he's turned down Alabama, right? He's just saying he's staying at Oregon. So we'll get into that. But I'm so excited about the future for LSU because here's the thing. You can say, well, LSU got Bo Davis. They don't have any defensive linemen, which I've seen so many cynical, just thick-headed Tiger fans posting. And it's like, listen, you fool. Like, this stuff changes in the next few days. Don't you, like, we don't have defensive linemen. Like, does that mean you're never going to have defensive linemen? Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I get it. We only have 2 defensive tackles on the team right now. Jacoby and Guillory and Jalen Lee. And they're both, 5th-year seniors. Jalen Lee, 6th year. It's crazy. I get it. But that does not mean LSU can't do something here. Figure out something through the transfer portal. The transfer portal targets that are out there are not even really too enticing. And that's the problem. Yes, LSU are going to be – it's going to be like cornerback. Whoa, shit. That's why you don't leave boxes in your house in random spots. Sorry. That's why you don't leave yourself so screwed and thin like we did at corner this season at defensive line, defensive tackle. Because that's what just like we were thin this last season at corner, we're going to be thin at defensive tackle this next season. And Bo Davis, his coaching can paper over those cracks. But only so much. LSU really got to get smart here. They've got to convince Mason Smith to come back and really maybe take a stab, maybe take a push at Mekhi Wingo still. See if something can be done there. See if something can be done. You never know. He didn't want to leave, but he felt like he had to. But now Matt House is gone. Matt House is out the door. Blake Baker's in the house. Bo Davis is going to be coaching your defensive line. Like, you're the captain of this defense. You have unfinished work with Mason Smith. That's what I'd be selling. That something like that. In that vein, pay the men, pay the young men, fill up their wallets, show them the cars. I don't care. Get them back on campus. Because LSU have no other way to really solidify defensive tackle other than like converting freshmen who do not play defensive tackle into playing that position. And you can really get some people hurt, get some people in some bad spots when you're playing them at defensive tackle out of position. It is a spot for grown ass men. We'll just say that. But Bo Davis is such a big hire because it's not even just bringing in the best defensive line coach in the country. Okay, in my opinion, this is about the ambition of Brian Kelly. This is about the ambition of Kelly for me. That I'm going to literally bring in this guy, this guy, this guy. We're going to make sure we get the top personnel, the top coaches. And so with that, I think, you should expect to hear about LSU's defensive backs coach and a second, yes, I said it, a second defensive line coach who we have highlighted. Both of these coaches we've highlighted. Actually, all three of these coaches we've highlighted in a previous article posted just yesterday. For subscribers, they're on LSUODYSSEY.com. Definitely check that out. And yeah, there's three new coaches who will be joining the staff under Blake Baker, and with Bo Davis now at defensive line. It's exciting times because it's the ambition, it's the drive from Brian Kelly to say, like, yes, our defensive line is in a really tough spot. We're gonna go get the best defensive line coach in America and turn our defensive line from something that was embarrassing to watch last season into something that's going to literally like inspire grown men to tears and Mick Jagger impersonations just to try and get a second of Bo Davis's time. The man is coming back to Louisiana. I mean, you've got Frank Wilson and Bo Davis on the same staff now. Cortez Hankton, another Louisiana old school St. Augustine guy. Who else is going to join this staff? Who is a local Louisiana legend icon who can help turn things around? Who? Someone who generated NFL draft picks ad nauseum. Well, hopefully we'll be the ones to break that story. We've got everything ready for it. Just waiting on some things, but hopefully stay tuned to our Twitter there at Lon Phillips there on X/Twitter. Ignore that joining the LSU Odyssey Facebook group. We are not on Facebook anymore. There we go. That's even better. That's better. Show beginning shortly. Sorry, that's a bad title. Poor production value, huh, Seiji? Huh? What's up, buddy? He's laughing at his show. Bo Davis, this is someone who won the national championship in 2003. He was part of that that strength and conditioning staff with under Tommy Moffitt as part of that 2003 team that won the national championship. So he's there from 2002 to 2005 as assistant strength conditioning coach. There from 95 to 97 as a grad assistant coach. Coached at North Shore as well in the end of the 90s. Miami Dolphins in 2006, assistant D-line coach. And that's under Saban, right? Yep. He joined Saban's Dolphins staff. What does that say about his pedigree? Following Saban once again, Davis joined the Crimson Tide, wins the national championship again there. That first championship where his own D-line knocked Colt McCoy out of that game, like we were just saying, which sealed that title game. He left, though, following the 2010 season. He goes to Texas from 2011 to 2013. And then he comes back to Bama in 2014 after 3 years at Texas and 1 week with USC, where he would be at USC and then got out of the job, I'm guessing. He returns to Alabama, wins another national championship in 2015. There's some recruiting stuff that went down. Still not going to affect him anymore. It's happened. It's long gone. It's been dealt with. But then he goes back to the NFL, goes to Jacksonville, comes back, UTSA. Let me see there. Is he Frank Wilson? Yep. Frank Wilson hires him to be underneath him as his defensive line coach at UTSA. I knew it. When I saw that he was on that Texas San Antonio staff, I was like, holy shit, Frank Wilson hired him. So, Frank is going to be overjoyed here. Matt Patricia in Detroit. Matt Patricia, damn good at his job. Learned everything from Bill Belichick. So here's the thing. And then Texas, as you know, his second stint there. Goes to this college football playoff with that defensive line. Basically takes Texas to their first college football playoff ever. This is their first anything since that 05-06 Rose Bowl game. This close loss against Washington was their first game of consequence of that nature. Oh, sorry, never mind. Since the 2009 the 2009-2010 season when they lost Alabama. My bad. Take that back. You guys also had another trip to the title game. That time you lost. We just referenced that earlier. How did we forget that? Dumb. My bad. Bo Davis has 3 national championships to his name. Entrenched relationship with Frank Wilson. We'll grow that with Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly is someone who's been an admirer for quite some time of Bo Davis's. So this is going to go very smooth with Bo Davis. I think the only problem is how long is he going to stay? We got him. He's going to be successful at LSU. And I think he's at least going to stay until that second season when he's got certain guys in there, maybe 1 or 2 like big superstars out of the portal. I think LSU, and I'm going to say something that's maybe LSU needs some desperate help at defensive tackle. Like we literally are screwed on the defensive interior. Like we are screwed. Because no matter who you list, it's like, dude, they're not a legit DT. Only Guillory and Jalen Lee are. Paris Shand, yeah, he could do it. I think he's probably the one who's most suited for that role to step in there out of anybody that could do it the best. Everyone else it's like putting a safety at corner. You know what I'm saying? Like you're a DB, but do you have the skills to do this? It's a whole different thing. And do you have the body to do it? It's a whole different thing that way too. It's a body thing as well. It's a movement thing. It's a feet thing. It's a girth thing, playing defensive tackle. It's not just being an immovable object, but can you disrupt and just destroy protections? Can you chip in with 3.5, 4.5 sacks a season? I'm going to say something that I think is a little controversial. I just was about to lead up to this before I went on another tangent. But LSU are going to have to tamper. LSU are going to have to tamper with some players on some rosters. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know if anyone has thought of that, but LSU are going to have to steal some players from some rosters here. Like, we're going to have to do it dirty. And Bo Davis might be the key to that, getting some guys from that Texas D-line. Maybe Bo Davis's hire is able to, hopefully keep one of Mason Smith or Mekhi Wingo from going in the NFL draft, and then we can, build from there. But without both of those guys, as well as losing Jordan Jefferson, who's, I think, 3rd in TFLs this season, like, you are hurting at defensive tackle. You have 2 just pure defensive tackles on the team. That's insane. 5 is like, short. So, like, you've got to find a way around this. And Bo Davis is going to have to get creative here. I'm going to put it that way. He's going to have to get creative. But I just said it before a second ago. We're just going to have to go steal some guys. So it's going to have to happen. And I'm not saying there's a source that I'm reporting anything. Trust me, if I'm reporting something, I will tell you, I will say this is a report, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying I have any knowledge of LSU tampering with anybody or doing anything like that. I'm just saying that I don't see any other way for us to get bodies on the roster. You know what I'm saying? Like, the portal isn't offering too many attractive targets. You didn't really bring in too many freshmen who are going to be able to play DT. So what are you going to do? You know, you got to get creative at this point. LSU Odyssey Live presented by our friends ReleafMed. Join them today at ReleafMed.com. Contact them. They are the #1 resource in medical cannabis in Louisiana. Our proud sponsors. Thank you guys so much. And you guys are awesome. Check them out. Louisiana's #1 medical cannabis resource, ReleafMed.com. Get your relief today. Our good friends, you see it all over the place. You see the banners, you see the tickers. Boom, there it is again. I'm just excited about this next phase of LSU football. Because yes, LSU's roster have some big questions, some worries. Quarterback isn't one of them. Offensive line isn't one of them. You know, linebacker to a big degree, you could say, isn't one of them either. Perkins, Whit Weeks, Greg Penn III. If you had a gun to your head, I guess you could play Omar Spates, fourth if everybody was injured. That's a solid spot. You look at all the freshmen that are coming in at linebacker as well. Devon Keys lights up the screen. That guy, I shouldn't say guy. He's just barely, he's not even finished his high school senior season. This young man flies off the screen, is exciting. I think he's ready to play at the next level. You're going to hear arguments that he doesn't have the body for it. I think Harold Perkins didn't either, but I think his skill set, his finesse, his athleticism is going to give him that edge so that he's going to beat and shed those blocks. Look at what Devon Keys can do off the edge. Look at what Devon Keys can do caught in the wash. He's about to get, probably sent into the next level while this guy gets a 20, 25-yard rushing gain, but he fights him off, wraps the guy up around the legs and trips him up, breaks up what should have been a 30-yard, 40-yard run to only 3 or 4 yards. The way he gets pick sixes, he's been returning punts. He's been rushing the football. I think he had 17 rushing touchdowns this last year. It's the same kind of blueprint as Harold Perkins, a Patrick Queen, a Devin White. These guys who are such uber athletes playing linebacker, who are just playing every position possible. West Weeks did the same thing. It's the best way to develop linebackers into absolute freaks who can run side to side and think and even move like a ball carrier, whether that's a pass catcher, which is becoming more and more a part of the linebacker's job is to cover. But whether they're, it's a pass catcher or a ball carrier, they've got to be able to run side to side, and you're seeing that. And Devon Keys is someone I'm excited about coming to LSU football here. Linebacker is a position you do not have to worry about. Cornerback. Is cornerback a position you have to worry about? I don't think we're going to move Javian Toviano back to safety. I think he might stay at corner, but we'll see what happens there with Toviano. I think he showed really well at corner. I think safety, you might be wasting him. There's just there's something about the defense that I think, yeah, I don't think you'll see LSU light up the screen on defense this next season, but I think you're going to see a defense that are playing with aggression. I think obviously the calls are going to be more aggressive. You're actually going to see guys jamming receivers off the line, which, it's legal to do, Matt House. It's legal to even literally just smash a receiver in the fucking face right off the line, right off the snap, as long as it's before a few yards. You can do this, and you see 15 yards off. Of course, they're just going to throw short little hitches all day and bleed you dry for over 600, and exhaust your entire defense trying to tackle all these things, all these millions of plays, all these little pass plays. You're going to see Blake Baker at least get LSU out of those type of situations where you're constantly getting killed on 3rd and long because your defense is gassed. You're going to see, hopefully, with what the offense showed you in that LSU-Wisconsin game, where the Tigers, Garrett Nussmeier, put up 395 with this new Tigers offense with Joe Sloan, who looks like he should either be offensive coordinator or at least co-offensive coordinator. He's in line to be promoted here. I'm not really sensing or seeing anything that's saying Joe Sloan is, not going to be the guy at OC. But it seems like, from what I've been hearing and what I just can see from the landscape, I can take what I hear and then just run with it. But what I like to do is take what I hear and then, does this actually make sense? Could this actually feasibly happen? And then run it through that type of hard drive, so to speak, and kind of go through that with a fine-tooth comb before I run with it. But this is just it's something else. I am excited though. I think LSU have some roster issues, but I don't think those can't be overcome by the strength of the coaches that are coming in, by the talent that is already there. I mean, had we just played the right guys last season, LSU maybe have one less loss. Maybe we're playing in a New Year's Six Bowl. But what we saw with Jaden Daniels now, winning the Heisman Trophy, and now Garrett Nussmeier also putting up 395, going off. I think it deceives all of us into only worrying about the defense and thinking only the defense is the issue. And we only need to worry about solidifying the coaching staff on defense, making sure the defense is okay. We're loaded on offense, blah, blah, blah. We've been lulled into that thinking before. That was in 2020. And the offense that season still put up a ton of numbers, right? Terrace Marshall went for over 1,000. Miles Brennan threw for a few 300-yard games. Max Johnson even threw for a few 300-yard games. TJ Finley had a game where he put up 50-plus points on South Carolina. Like, we did some crazy things that season statistically in 2020, but we had a shit offense on 3rd down and in the red zone where it matters most. Why did LSU have the highest scoring offense that were just 2 points away from tying the 2019 offense to the juggernaut under Joe Burrow's record of points per game? Just 2 points off? Because we were dominant on 3rd and dominant inside the red zone. Near perfect. That is the difference between a great offense and a poor offense. And I'm worried about that this next season. I'm worried about, a new quarterback, new system, new personnel, same offensive line, right? Same O-line, got continuity there. Different center, though. Different center, different quarterback. But Nussmeier, it's hard to call him a different quarterback, and he's played with a lot of these offensive linemen on and off for most of. This is his 17th appearance, even though it was just his first start. So it's LSU've got to worry about everything here, and I'm very intrigued to see what we're going to do with offensive coordinator. Just as much as I was intrigued to see what Brian Kelly's going to do with defensive coordinator. Now that he's answered that question, we've got Blake Baker. Now you've got Bo Davis. The next domino that's about to drop is going to be Corey Raymond at cornerbacks coach. And then as we put on our site, expect 2 other hires to the staff. And it's seeming like Mizzou defensive ends coach, kind of an edge rushing guy, Kevin Peoples, is someone that Blake Baker just has to have on his staff, will be pulling over. That's something that isn't confirmed 100%, but it seems like it's pretty much over the line with Kevin Peoples. Still not confirmed. We'll see what happens there. 1 second. I think he wants me to get him down. Are you getting scared? Yeah, you put a book on this thing, buddy, that you couldn't step down on it. Come here. Yep, Nick Saban interview after his retirement with Reese Davis. 25 minutes long. Good Lord. And of course it would be Reese who would get it, Alabama alum. I'm shocked it wasn't Reese who broke it, Of course, Reese probably gave it to Chris Lowe, like, here's the news, Chris, my man. LSU, though, I feel like we're going into a beautiful new era where there's no Nick Saban anymore in college football. There's nothing in Brian Kelly's way from greatness at LSU. And really, Nick Saban wasn't even really a big, huge concern of mine that was in the way. Really, I felt like Brian Kelly would be able to beat him. And yeah, you're not always going to beat Saban and blah, 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 blah. But the fact that you lose to Nick Saban and you're basically out of it, if you just lose that one game, you're out of it. It's hard to stomach, and it's great to see him gone for that damn reason. Is that as great as he is, and I understand he is the best ever, best that will probably ever do it, the one that the great ones studied. It's like, thank God you're gone, because now we can get moving. And you always wonder, would we have beaten a Saban Alabama team this year? Thinking into the future, would we have beaten Saban this year with this team? You'll wonder that about certain teams maybe. But Alabama, with all of their resources and their endless money, thanks to Nick Saban, should be able to find the right coach here. I mean, maybe they've even been consulting Saban on who the right coach was for the last little bit. Maybe news is breaking right now as I'm speaking about who the coach is going to be. Shit. 1 second. Mhm. Expect something very interesting. LSU. Maybe not in the next day or so. Maybe even like a few days after that. Like LSU, this news is going to come thick and fast, but it it's been coming when you least expect it. Like it's. I'm sure no one expected us to post the Matt House story when we did. I'm sure it took a lot of people by surprise. I'm sure a lot of people didn't expect the Bo Davis one we posted when it was. You know, as much as people claim to be insiders when it comes to LSU and claim to know everything, you just don't. And there's so many times I catch some of these guys in LSU media who say, "Oh, I knew about that this weekend. I knew it was going to happen. I was told." And it's like, oh my God, if I actually have a source or even a couple sources or even broke the story that they're talking about, usually I actually, just because of the way I found out or the way I actually witnessed the incident or whatever happened goes down, I will actually know that they're full of shit because of what they're saying. It's like, actually, no, there's no way you would have known that at that time because of this and this. And like sometimes it's been so like bad. And the Matt House thing kind of revealed a lot of that even more. And now you're seeing with Bo Davis again, people claiming that they knew when, like, come on, there's no way you had a clue. There's no way. Like, stop. This is something that was kept in under extreme wraps, and when it was being approved as a contract through LSU's like board, the advocate found out, and they got to break the story through that. That's. And who cares? However you find out, break the story. I don't care. I think Wilson does a great job of what he does, and I think you've seen him win awards, you've seen him break stories. But what's cool about him is he's also credited other people when it's their story and their hard work, and he's done that for us. And so I can't have anything but respect for him. So that's gonna stay that way. North Face Norman says, "You're what's up, man?" He says, "Raymond or rushing or both." Well, from my understanding, as we wrote this on our LSUODYSSEY.com subscribers only thing, and we're only going to give you a chunk of what we told the subscribers, but the cornerbacks and safeties coaches will both be separate. It's not going to be just a DB's guy. It's going to be a safeties coach and a corner coach. Whether that's going to be Rushing and Raymond, two names we here are strongly interested in LSU, and LSU is strongly interested to the point of pursuing both of them. You've got Raymond at his house in Baton Rouge after being fired from Florida, basically just watching everything being put together, waiting for the moment, I guess, or waiting for the money. I'm not sure. And yeah, you can't throw that. You already threw the other remote. We can't find the other remote. You little crazy bam bam. You little crazy weirdo. Here, buddy. Here, you're gonna make a mess if we let you throw this around. So I just where the hell was I? I can't remember what I was. This kid is extremely distracting. Oh yes, you asked me this question. Yeah, that's the thing is it's weird that for a while LSU, I swear, had Raymond coaching both corners and safeties. I could be wrong on that. I swear that's how it went down. There's a lot of times coaches want that coach together in concert. There's times they want it very separate, and you're going to see that very separated with this going forward. So, I mean, there's no way that, since you're getting Raymond, you couldn't get Rushing. No. Well, Rushing, yeah, he's coached corners, but he's also coached safeties as well. And it's my understanding they're pursuing him to be a safeties coach. And I mean, he's been at A&M the last few years, former Super Bowl winner with the Colts as a player. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go. I haven't heard an update on whether Rushing is sealed, but when that ink is dry, I will be reporting that as soon as I hear that. North Face Norman says, if I had to pick Peoples, Corey Raymond, and Rushing, well, I'm sure you'll probably get your wish, or at least close. I could see a world where Corey Raymond rejects LSU here, but I don't really anticipate that happening at all. I expect him to. It seems like this is going to have a very Louisiana 90s mafia returning back to Louisiana to win a title that they should have won back in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bo Davis is coming back. Corey Raymond's coming back. Frank Wilson back in the house. I mean, it's just, I think it's going to get even more like that. Pete Jenkins was even back on staff. Damn. Gatorade. Holy crap. What the hell? I don't know. I don't know if any of you watched that thing where Stephen A. Smith is like talking about Jason Whitlock, you fat bastard, you sick piece of shit. Like, I don't know if any of you saw that. That was so awesome. Stephen A. Smith was like just skull dragging Jason Whitlock, the devil himself. You fat, slimy bastard. The book I wrote about my mother and my father. Like, you call me a liar. Like, he was so pissed, Stephen A. Smith. It was so... It's required viewing. It is hilarious, but you got to get the context behind it. And hang in there. Stephen A. Smith gives it to you. All the context, all the brilliance of it all. And it's so funny. It's so funny. I don't know if these guys are doing this for laughs, doing this for clicks, if it's a setup thing and they actually secretly are friends. I can't see that happening. I can't see that being the truth, because what they're saying about each other is so egregious. Stephen A. Smith, MJ, Travis Scott, and more, all in the same luxury box. Good God, Stephen A. Smith. I love Stephen A. Smith. There's times it drives me nuts too. He's a bit of a hypocrite. He'll say, I have never lied. And it's like, dude, you said Lonzo Ball was like his career was over or something, or no, he couldn't move his leg or something, and then it showed Lonzo Ball was like moving his leg and like called Stephen A out, like, you know, make a mistake, okay, but it seemed really weird. Like it seemed like an outright just lie of a report. His treatment of Max Kellerman has been completely reprehensible. Stephen A. Smith. Max Kellerman ain't a journalist. Like, do you have to go to a esteemed school and study journalism to become a journalist? No, you don't. Because I actually would argue I've probably broken more stories than some of these LSU media guys who've been to a lot of schooling. You know, I think the best schooling that you can have is experience, is doing it, making mistakes, learning, getting better. And you know, to end this podcast, I think that's the perfect way to end it. Nick Saban once said, "Never waste a failure. Never waste a failure." I think it's a great way to look at it. LSU are in a great place here because here's the thing. It's a blank canvas. It's a blank canvas. We've got all the pieces here, but it's like we can just kind of, it feels like there's so much opportunity here. It feels like we're on the mountaintop, on the hill, looking down into the valley, and it's like, what type of city are we going to construct? What type of town are we going to construct? What type of kingdom are we about to build? Are we about to establish? You know, like that's the type of view, perspective, vibe I am just getting. And it's very exciting with the arrivals of Bo Davis, the arrival of Blake Baker to just completely wipe the memory, the playbook, the idiocy of last year's defense off the face of the planet, and hopefully retain a lot of what that offense did and what the offense meant last season, winning double-digit games off the back of that offense, having to deal with two defenses every game, not just the opponent, but indeed their own. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Follow us there on Twitter at Lon Phillips. Check out LSUODYSSEY.com. We have had a record number of subscribers this last week. Ever since we broke the news of the Matt House firing, I mean, LSU have a bandwagon fan base. When everybody's joining, just everyone's joining now. It's funny, but I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. We have a ton of new subscribers. Let's shout them out here. Shane Duncan, Jeffrey Bond, Kathy Boyett. Kathy is awesome, talking to us on Twitter, asking us how to subscribe. And before we could even answer, she was already subscribed, and I could see that on here. And I was like, okay, awesome. Like, I can't believe someone even believes in us, even watches this stuff. But it's because we actually do provide you information that you cannot get at onfree.com, that you cannot get at go247.com, that you cannot get from Sports Illustrated. We actually do provide that and have done that for 5 years. And so we're going to continue to do that. And we've actually gotten better at it. And it seems like there is more of it coming out of all sides here at some point. W. Lemaire also purchased Year-Round Badass, a year-round subscription. Brandon Cox, Colwick, Brad Odoms, says Brad Odoms and 5 others purchased one of these plans. Let me get some names here. Roger Presley, R. Floric. That name's familiar. Of course, my man Jarrett Billiot, my brother Jarrett Billiot, Kai Wiltz at Yahoo, Jacob Landry, Delanaki, Zach Pollock, Donk Latour, Louitry. I can't. Don Clouter. I can't. Cloutry. Shit, what did I click? Okay. Let's see here. Martin Shelby, Christopher Baumgartner, Cam Holland Dyer, Kevin Semyon, J-Mac, Brian Jackson, M. Honley, Jeremy Powers, coach of 3 Sports, Jeff Wathers, R.W. Doucette, someone who's been subscribed to us for a few years, who's just renewing. John Patton, renewing as well. Kevin Howell, good friend of mine, also renewing. Austin Chavon, a membership that was gifted from his mom, Jamer, to him. We have, there's been a lot. I'm not even reading all of them here. There's been a lot in the last little bit, and it's been humbling that we have received so much support, humbling that people back us when you have this giant conglomerate of media, this media machine where you've got people just funneling it with money and funneling it with, we want an agenda to be pushed, and this is that agenda. We are not going to bring you that agenda. We're going to bring it to you real, whether that's LSU might be in a little trouble here. There's a scandal going on, and here's what the facts are. Whether it's LSU are kicking ass and taking names, everyone out there is lying about LSU here in this scandal, or LSU are a better team than people think, or all sides of it. Whatever the truth is, we're going to get to it, and we're going to present that to you. However it is, good, bad, ugly, great, amazing, championships, losing seasons, fired coaches, Hall of Fame, gilded gods of Tiger lore, everything in between, we're going to present it to you. Thank you so much for joining us, all of our new supporters, all of our new subscribers. You are the people who literally light a fire into me and make me stay up all night so that I can make sure to break the next story. You have no idea how fun that was to break the Matt House being fired story. Not because I wanted to break a story about a man losing his job, because I wanted to free a fan base. I wanted to give a fan base a second Christmas present. And that was a very fun thing to do. So, everybody, thank you so much. We've been here presented by ReleafMed. Get your relief today at ReleafMed.com. This has been LSU Odyssey Live, hosted by Lon Phillips Sullivan. That's me, of course. I hate kind of saying that in the third person. It's kind of weird. Follow us on Twitter at Lon Phillips. Go check out LSUODYSSEY.com. There's the third person talking third person again. What am I, Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson gonna knock you out, bro. Everybody stay safe out there, especially if you're living in cold, snowy places, especially if there's crazy weather patterns in the great, beautiful, bountiful state of Louisiana. Everybody, take it easy. Hit me up if you have a question, concern, and yeah. Thank you so much for joining our new show, our new site. We have so many new subscribers. you're going to see that this side of things is way more casual than the writing and the other side. Like, this is where we come to kind of relax and go off about LSU. And it's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to sound 100%ly, you know, everything is, we're going to go off on tangents. We're going to let things flow. There's going to be times things are really tight, things are really perfect. It's what I feel is going to be right for each show, what is right for the circumstances. And sometimes that's why there's going to be no shows. There's going to be writing, is because I'm either not in a place where I can be on, camera, or the logistics are wrong, or something's going on with me health-wise or physically or something where I can't. Like, my face has been beaten to bloody pulp, or I've been beaten with a shovel by some weird neighbor named Mark who has like Asperger's. Like, speaking of which, as weird as I am, as strange as I am, I want to dispel something that is really, really fucked up that people were saying about me on on3.com. Someone sent me this in a screenshot. On on3.com, there was someone who alleged Lon is a, quote, Lon is a high-functioning autistic like me. I am a high-functioning, and then went on a tangent to say I was bullied, they were bullied as a high-functioning autistic, and I am like them. I am not autistic. Like, as much as I would love to blame my weirdness, my bizarre nature on that, I'm just weird. I'm just strange. I'm not autistic. I'm not high-functioning autistic. So, on3 person trying to claim that they know me, that's really fucked up. And trying to claim I'm like you, that's really fucked up. That's really wrong, and I think it's really gross. So, just wanted to clear that up, because there's been some stuff said and some things insinuated that it's just like, I felt like I had to clear this up. Not just by being obviously not autistic, but because it's like, let's just call this straight out. Like, this is just ridiculous. So yeah, not autistic, 100% not autistic, right? Like, everyone's gonna end this stream going like, that dude's totally autistic.